What's going on, YouTube? Very special episode here. It's the 115 subscriber Bash Bonanza extravaganza here on the channel. I thought it was going to be a nightmare to get my old YouTube channel back and wait and not be able to upload. But I think I've really found my calling here, guys, to upload POV demo, match analysis, analyses, and who cares if we only get 100 views a video. It's so nice to see some comments again. Look at these comments. Oh my God, wonderful. Yesterday I asked the question, what was the best advice that you've gotten in CS? And there's some really great answers here. If you want to go ahead and check them out. Shout out to everyone for getting back to me on that. That was an awesome one. So today we've got a very special match. It's going to be nexa. Shout out to Nextra, my mod on Twitch. It's Nexa playing on Vertigo, and he had a great match versus Heroic. Look at this one here, 28 and 10 overall. He had a 19 kill first half, I believe. Or no, sorry, 21 kill first half, I believe. And a 1.89 rating on the map. So we're going to take a look at that. And if we look at Nexa's recent Vertigo performances, look at this. This guy's been shooting for the stars every single game. 1.89 rating, 1.91 rating here. The game before that, I think he starts to taper off just a tiny bit. Almost, that was the train. I think there was another Vertigo more than recently. 17 and 9 here, 1.27 rating versus Big. He's been on the up and up. Before this, he was having some negative rating. So not only is he in a sea of green here, almost 10 games in a row in the green, but he's been doing very, very good on Vertigo. And what's awesome about watching IGLs play well is you can see that the plan that goes on around them in the match has a lot to do with the way that they play their specific round. So a lot of the decisions they make fit perfectly into the full scope and ethos of the team play, as well as just the overarching strategy in the round itself. So I really love the opportunity to watch a IGL play well. And we know that Nexa really is that kid right now. He's the reason that G2 were able to touch down on the #1 ranking, even though, as legitimate as that may be, for a second there, you know, he got G2 to the #1 ranking. They wouldn't have done it without Nextra, both in the fragging department and the IGL department. That's what makes it that much more amazing. But this game, I'm here to learn just as much as you guys are, okay? I'm not a Vertigo expert by any means. This is not a map that I ever played a full season on. It's the only map in the pool that I haven't played competitively on. So I haven't taken the time to learn all the nades. I haven't gotten tons of pugs in on it. My main bout of experience on Vertigo is watching casts. I haven't even watched many demos on it. So a lot to be learned here for maybe you, maybe mostly me. But I think that's what makes these videos so fun, is that I feel like I normally would be doing this. I'd be recording, I'd be watching POV demos alone by myself, but now I get to watch them and upload them and read the comments after. It's a win-win-win for me. So let's see what's so good about Nexa on Vertigo. How do you separate yourself from the rest? And you might be thinking, well, Coach Lau, this is Heroic. Heroic are trash. Why should we care about Nexa dropping 21 kills and a half versus Heroic? Well, listen up, dude. Heroic, this is the upper bracket finals or something for Cologne. Okay, they're about to make it into finals of the whole damn thing for Cologne. Heroic have been playing really well, Cadian especially. A lot of these names are very familiar. Heroic has definitely been on the up and up, a serious contender, and this has not been an easy road. This was a 3-map series, actually, just for G2 to make sure that they made it through. So you better believe that Heroic have earned their stripes to get to this point. Yesterday I asked, what's the best Counter-Strike advice that you've ever got? We had a few good comments. Mine was relative to crosshair placement. There was one. There was a comment there about. Screw it. I'm going to use this anti-eco to read them. Zotek said, X0TEK said, not advice, but Jared Tendler's mental game of poker was immensely useful to me. I read this comment and I immediately Googled it. and I found that DDK had done a podcast with this man. You can go ahead and Google that for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description. Incredibly interesting podcast, totally worth the listen, about the mental game of poker, and it relates to CS as well because he has experience in esports now. I would check that out. I always love to live on a podcast and deathmatch. Or leave on a podcast and do dishes. Leave on a podcast and run. The most versatile way to absorb information. And wow. I mean, I just want to talk through this because here we are watching Nexa have one of the best halves of his life, okay, versus Heroic here. 21-8. And he starts off the map by killing himself in his own Molotov, taking a kill away from himself, and then still getting 21-8. It's the feet of clay that make the gold of the image precious. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase, that saying, but Nexa is the true embodiment of that. As we can see here, pulling off the 1G to start the map off. Just to show Heroic, there's nothing to be scared of, okay? Nexa's like, look at me, I'm an idiot. I'm killing myself in Molotovs. You have nothing to be scared of. Only to turn it around and drop an extraordinary half on their heads right after. Alright, so jokes aside, how does it get the kills back? Walk up the B stairs here with the MAC-10, leading the charge. Selfless on the spacing so far. Just making sure to not really like jiggle on any angles, like beeline it. Get on the rails and just slide into the site and create space. Take some risks just to create space as best possible. Trouble getting the bomb down in this spot, but they've already got the 4-on-2. And Nexa gets the friendly upgrade, and now it's a 4-on-1, so they can go ahead and plant the bomb, no problem. And we know the meta of Vertigo right now is to run up the A ramp, scrim up A, dodge grenades, look for a boost, spam back, try to get a post plant, dodge some more grenades, spam through the wall, and then hope you get lucky and win the round. Spam the diffuser and the smoke. That's pretty much the meta of the map right now. And I think what that would mean to me as an IGL is that if B is a bit more volatile, I would be spending more of my anti-ecos, pistol rounds, a number of rounds towards B where there wasn't a ton on the line, so that I could at least create the illusion that I'm entertaining the thought of going B. Leave it open for those rifle rounds, even if I don't actually go, because you just don't want the CTs to be stacked up on the site that you're hitting. But as we can see, here's another anti-eco. It goes towards A this time around. And by that same line of thinking, you can't just go to the weaker site on every single anti-eco. That also doesn't make sense, because then that becomes obvious. So you've got to change it up. But I would be very cognizant as an IGL of like, all right, we should try to win some rounds at B. What rounds would those be? Because otherwise the game plan's too obvious. No one's ever in a match really just gone 15 times to one site. And was proud about that from a calling perspective. Kenny has dies after taking some spam damage. And it's been nothing too special so far. Nexa's not got that many kills as well. Something consistent we've seen in the past couple days is decently slow starts for some of the top fraggers. So we're actually off to another anti-eco situation. Pistol stacked up on A. And the Molotovs and pushes are coming through. Everybody's sitting back on the A site here. This is This whole duel is what I think needs to be changed a bit. There's so much pressure on this one angle towards this headshot and all these small positions around the site that can all be attacked from this ramp and this pseudo headshot position that gets worse and worse the farther you go up. But that's why all of the attention and attention from the T's is here on the A ramp at this turning point. Once you can turn the corner, everybody needs to start rushing onto the site, swarming, getting out in the open, and then relying on their utility to be their final line of defense between the CTs rotating in. But up until here, you can be a little bit lighter on grenades. You've only got to throw stuff towards sandbags and worry about J-Hall. And then once you win that, you get that crack in the dam, everybody can come flooding through and rush for the plant. And that may be why there's so much confidence for the T's in attacking A. Is if they feel like, yes, we might not always get the opening kill, but when we do, it's GG, then you better believe a terrorist team is going to take that gamble every day of the week. If it's 50-50, that's a positive thing for the T's. So far so good here for G2 Esports. Nothing special. Nexa collecting a couple of anti-eco kills. He's killed a little bit everybody, even himself. Looks like a gap. I'm looking at a gap 0 here for Nexa. Waiting for the B push to come through. He spots the smoke over top of it. This is interesting. Borup doesn't expect that to be given up. That is just such a big piece of information. Wow. And this is why people have PTSD about throwing grenades. This is why people never want to throw their grenades. Borup had no idea what was coming. I mean, the second kill is, you know, almost as easy as the first, and Cadian gets bullied down to 13 HP. Wow, I want to say the best part of all this is Nexa pulls back. Decides to fall back into the site. His teammates need to come over here and plant the bomb. Could Nexa really be doing more in this situation? Oh, wow. And he dies. And they lose? It's supposed to be a POV analysis, but I just had to stick around to watch that treachery. Okay. How do they lose that round? How did G2 win this game? And how does Nexa have such an extraordinary half? This is why I love doing POV demos, by the way. Okay? This is because it epitomizes what I love about Counter-Strike. The other team could be amazing. Your team could be shit. You could be 1v9. But if you are that good, if you are that dude, if you are simple, if you are Ziwu, if you are Nexa, you could still win the map. We have that in Counter-Strike. Those other esports, they don't have that, okay? We maintain an emphasis on the gestalt, making sure that your team is greater than the sum of its parts. That can win you a map, but then somehow also, if one player is going to have the absolute game of his life, drenched in G Fuel, monitor tan on his nose, hasn't left the house in 40 days straight, except to go to the corner store to buy Red Bull. That player can take an entire game into his own hands. That's what we love about Counter-Strike. And that's what makes watching these POV demos so interesting. Nexa here watching paint dry on the other side of a B smoke. Borup's certainly not going to let what happened last round happen again. And it's a creep back to the A site. And And now I'm just kind of paying attention to what nades are being used. Who's throwing what? How careful are they being? What are the specific angles they love on the ramp? Because this is such a pressure cooker situation, right? I think this is where you really do learn the tricks of the trade on Vertigo. We can see the patience pays off. Now kind of another tier of smokes come out, but not the final tier. There's still Kenny S, 2 flashbangs in hand, Molotov and smoke. Jax and Amanek both have smokes, but now they get the kill. Smokes to follow up, Kenny S gets the frag, and they can just start swarming. Do you see what I mean? Cracking the dam, and they all come flooding. There is so much emphasis on that one kill on the A site. And Nexa barely has to do anything. Grabs a frag through smoke, basically a team ace here. And it's into the save. I'm going to go ahead and skip this round. And we'll move on forward. Shake the confidence of Heroic on the A side a little bit. Take a sip of the coffee. Okay, the anti-eagle. Maybe I go ahead and skip one more. I'm going to gamble that G2 win this round. Okay. That's a dub. Off to the next one. Are we looking at a size 1 gap or a size 0 gap? That's what I'm above anything else. That's what I'm most curious about. I'm personally not a fan. What's your gap size? That's my question for today. What's a reasonable crosshair gap? I'm on a -3 gap right now, but look at that grenade. That was just beautiful. And that was a grenade to the exact same position that Borup was playing on the round before. I wouldn't even be surprised if Nexa didn't line that up. That he quite simply wanted to throw a grenade to punish Borup for playing a similar spot. That was exquisite. But yeah, what's your crosshair gap? I'm on a -3 right now, but I played as big as a 1 gap in my life. Never more than that. But at that point, I find it so hard to bite off some of these very kind of tiny angles and make sure it's a headshot. I don't feel so much confidence in my headshots when my gap is too big. So again, just paying attention here to the pathing, the specific angle clearing. And now Nexa feels confident about planning for CT. Wow, Borup drops a couple of bullets. Interesting. Nexa didn't even drop his smoke for the plant originally. Saving it might open a door for them, but Nico finds a small window of timing to push in. And it looks like there's not going to be a lot of hope here for Amanek. He dies as well. And that is round over. Okay. Couple of tragic rounds here for G2. They had the one round where Nexa got the 2 kills in the B site. And then somehow his team loses the 3v2. And then this round where they are so close to getting a bomb down. But again, Nexa's teammates fall like bowling pins. So they cut noise, no smokes whatsoever. And it's the late contact walk up, responding to the flash, only turning slightly. But yeah, the CT's jumbled up. Okay, interesting to see them not follow up immediately after this. Another decent grenade. Decent to good, 30 damage. I'd say that's very good. Let's see if Tessus dies to a body shot or a headshot. We'll see if that HE grenade had impact. Cadian dies in the back, and Kenny S is just here doing work. Okay, he dies to a Molotov, but it's after the round is over. It's all about Kenny S's 2 kills there. And poor Nexa having to plant the bomb. His life ends early. Gotta say, Vertigo, not exactly riveting gameplay, is it? Don't mean to hate on the map, okay? I actually kind of like playing it. But it's really a lot of waiting. Waiting and then exploding. It's not much pacing. Especially with the A antics. I actually would like to know more about why B doesn't work so well. Is B a bad site to take, or is A just too nice to take? This is an interesting question. Okay, next pivotal kill. He's already up to 18 frags. Blink and you miss it. I feel like some of these rounds where he's played his best, his team hasn't even been able to close them out. But 140 DAR, he's not complaining. Okay. So they decide to walk B, and now they're posted up like cement. Waiting for Heroic to go for a bad push. Volley of grenades out onto the site. Bomb can certainly get planted this time around. Small risk by Nexa walking out to CT, but they don't anticipate anybody to be here. I think maybe Almanac or whoever was over on the other side of the map had caused a bit of distraction. Look how skinny this pillar is. It's on the juice cleanse diet from the last update. I am curious about the way where he's sitting right now. I guess you would have to be in the site or something to be able to see him, but you certainly be able to see his gun sticking out. Maybe serves as a good bait, though. We skip ahead. If Heroic were a weapon skin right now, they'd be well worn. It's like another scary eco round. Heroic have saved a couple of guns, upgraded deagles on 3. Say virtually everything rests on that first kill. As it always does. So it looks like Nex is middle of the pack with most of these strategies. And Jax looks to die behind him. Opening kill. Heroic's odds they just swung. Okay, they're still low on a few players. But with Cadian opping, you can expect another mistake to come out here for G2. I wouldn't be surprised if Heroic could win this. Borup, opening kill. Trade in, but trade back. And it's 4-on-2. What'd I tell you guys? Okay, Heroic. I'm now cheering for you because I decided to risk my reputation on the assumption that you'd be able to pull this off after getting the first kill, and it looked like that went well, but now... Okay. All good and dandy. We just see, like, the risks, the mindset changes totally. The mindset changes totally when you lose the opening kill. This, I swear the reason that teams are winning rounds, that they get the opening kill 80, 75, 80% of the time, has half to do with the psychology. Have to do with the protocols, have to do with the psychology. People feel the need to take risks. When if they could see all players on the map, they might not have changed a thing. Hitting a site with 4 Ts might be just as scary if you executed the same way as you did with 5. But suddenly, you're terrified. Oh my god. I just watched my friend die. We can't hit this site anymore. They're everywhere. They're not everywhere. There's only 5 in total. They're probably evenly spread. You keep one holding the flank. Your first 2 players don't get the entries, you're going to lose anyway. You don't need 5 players to take a site. So why do things change so much when one player goes down? Oh shit, we're watching Cadian. T-Tours. It's been a lot of camping out here for Nexa outside of the B smokes. He just loves hunting Borup, is what we've learned so far. Love the Half-Life stickers on this AK. I think before I watched this demo, I thought of Nexa as an aggressive lurker. That's what I thought of him as. And we've seen that a couple of times in this game, but it seems like more so, he's like with the pack on the default, third in, something like that, putting Kenny in front, having somebody else open up a site. He's a bit more dynamic than simply an aggressive lurk. And I'm really glad I watched this demo because now I can describe that with more examples. I didn't realize that before, but I think watching the broadcast of this, I would have had the impression, you know, Nexa entering B a couple of times the way he did. My experience casting Nexa, those are the moments you remember. But the meat and potatoes of this half has been Nexa, middle of the pack in A ramp, middle of the pack on B, sitting and waiting, helping his teammates to get kills, coming in third, planting the bomb. Getting trades. And is that going to be a 6-9.5? Let's go ahead, get Kenny Cam. 1v2. A monster in the clutch, but he gets hit by the Molotov. Oh, it's an easy run up, but he doesn't know that smoke's coming up. And he was spotted. Can't get away. That is the end of the half. You know, the reason that game was interesting to me was it was a quiet 21. It was 21, but it was a quiet 21. A lot of the kills were not impactful, I would say. There was a lot of rounds, not even by Nexa, because of Nexa, because of his teammates failing to win rounds where he set up well. Nexa did a great job of knowing when he could be aggressive, picking two key opportunities to go for an aggressive lurk, and being successful both times. Never did we see Nexa look stupid running into his site to get killed first, leaving his team in a bad situation. Did we? I didn't see him once do that. Instead, we saw him kill Borup once, get into the site another time. On all of the other rounds, was very careful and patient, was about third in on both A and B, kind of just played around the middle. I think his team did him a service by making sure he doesn't die his entry since he was playing so well in the first place. And maybe that's key for him in having these last three Vertigo games have gone going so well. Having had gone so well. 28-10, 22-8, and then further down here, 17-9, his last three games. So interesting to check that out. Nexa has been playing really, really well. Tomorrow, I think we'll be going ahead and watching a Chaos game. I want to watch a game with John G. Unless there's a game that happens today that is worth taking a second look at. If you do have a game you want me to take a look at, I'm going to upload these every fucking day. So go ahead, ding the bell, it costs you nothing. Hit that sub button, which is also free, today only. And yeah, thanks everyone for the subs. And it's been super fun so far. I miss doing uploads, and I'm totally happy to do this every day before I start streaming. So let's get it going, guys. Another POV coming up tomorrow.